New business item number 1, consider authorizing the city administrator to accept lease proposals from Alltech Capital Services for the delivery of a small derrick digger truck and a large aerial lift truck in 2015 and to execute lease agreements for the trucks prior to delivery. David Green, good evening.
Good evening. The electric department began leasing specialty vehicles from Alltech back in 2009. The current leased vehicles include 2 derrick diggers, a large vehicle and a small one, 2 large aerial lift trucks or bucket trucks, and then 2 small aerial lift trucks. The 2 small lift trucks are on 4-year leases. Council approved a new lease for replacement vehicles back on April 7th. Their 4 large vehicles are on 5-year leases. The leases for the large digger derrick and one of the large aerial trucks end in 2017. The 2 vehicles that we're talking about this evening, the lease ends on April 1st of next year. The lease proposals for the 2 pieces of equipment are attached. The city must move on these lease proposals at this time so the equipment can be manufactured and ready for delivery next April. A comparison of the current rates follows. The small digger is currently $3,100 a month, and that will be going up to $3,150. The large piece of equipment currently leases for $2,950. It will go up to $3,350. Part of the reason for the increase is it has more equipment on it than the existing one, notably a device called a platform lift. Essentially what it can do is you can raise or lower the pair of buckets on the end of the boom up to 2 feet so you can work your way around energized electric lines safely. The proposed increases are well within the proposed budget for next year. We're currently projecting an increase of $5,400 over what the current lease rate for these 2 pieces of equipment. The next year's budget is proposed to have $12,500 increase for these 2 pieces. So the proposed budget is adjusted to reflect these pieces of equipment. The final rates could vary up to $50 up or down based on prevailing interest rates at the time of delivery. The lease includes warranty for preventive maintenance services. The city would be required to routine maintenance, oil changes, and repair, such as seals and tires, this sort of thing. The lease purchase was analyzed by the electric department when you all considered the 2 smaller trucks. That indicated that over a 20-year period there'd be a $400,000 savings to lease the equipment versus buying and maintaining it. A part of that is dialed in as the warranty maintenance services provided by Alltech. Staff recommends that council authorize the city administrator to accept the lease proposals from Alltech for the 2 vehicles and to execute lease agreements at the time of delivery next year. Be happy to answer any questions.
Okay. I'm going to have you hang on for just a moment. We're going to open the floor for public comments. Okay. I suggest you don't go far. If there's anyone present that would like to make public comments regarding new business item number 1, now's an opportunity to step to the podium and be heard. And with no one coming forward, we do have somebody coming forward. Very good. And this is Dave. Say your last name again.
Despard. D-E-S-P-A-R-D.
Same gentleman that spoke earlier.
Yes. My question is, how many city vehicles do we have total? And I don't know if you've ever thought of a possibility of starting your own little rental company, because I know the utility companies do this. They get a tax break that way. They lease the vehicles from their own company, and at the end of the lease, they buy them outright, and they've saved a lot of money on things. They still have the warranty because the manufacturer warranties it all. So that might be something to consider, all your vehicles. I just wanted to make that comment.
Well, thank you, Dave. No one else coming forward. Dave, I'm sure we've got questions on new business item number 1.
Dave, from your, I know we've successfully leased from this provider before. Is there any reason, in your opinion, that we should be seeking bids from other providers? And if why not?
At this point, I think since you've started with this, I think that would be a decision down the road you may want to consider. At this point, since we're dialed in with a delivery next year, I would recommend you proceed with Alltech.
Do we know how many people in the area provide this type of?
I'm recalling from my days in electric, I think usually we would get about 2 bids. Alltech was usually the successful provider.
Dave, I've got a question. This is something that the Electric Utility Board discussed as early as last fall. They were, after studying the issue, they recommended approval on this, correct?
On this particular one, I can't answer. I know back when the concept of leasing began, the Electric Utility Board approved it in 2009. It was brought to City Council also for approval.
I believe they did recommend this for approval. Does anybody else have a memory that's different than that? Okay. All right. That's all I have. Steve, it looked like you had a question.
Yeah, I was actually going to discuss the merits of taking this out to bid. I think that that's definitely something we should consider in the short term, though I think the clock is ticking on this one. I mean, it takes, 6 to 9 months to outfit a truck like this and have it delivered to the city. So, we're already up against it. We're on the edge of that 6-month time frame right now to have it delivered before the end of the year. So,
Right.
I think that it would be the prudent course to take the original recommendation and get this passed.
On page 1 of the contract, all of the blanks regarding details are missing. I mean, hard to approve a contract that doesn't have any of the blanks filled.
The only thing that is firm at this point are the 2 proposals. What I asked for them to do, this will be completed at the time of delivery. As I mentioned, the actual monthly amount could vary based on interest rates. The procedure that has been followed heretofore is the lease proposals come in, and then the contract would be based on that proposal meeting those requirements. One thing I wanted to do was show you the fine print, so at least you know what the lease agreement would be looking like. These would be plugged into the type of vehicle, a 60-month term. City of Gardner is the lessee. Alltech Capital is the lessor. So the only thing that's really missing is just the items that will fluctuate slightly based on interest rates.
Which you're saying could be plus or minus $50.
That's a good guess.
So what are the interest rates? I've asked this question before and no one knew.
And I'm sorry to say I do not know.
I mean, if you read the default provisions of the contract, they can charge 12% or whatever's allowed by law, whichever is less. So I'm assuming 12%. I mean, I guess the question I keep coming back to is, I know this is what the Electric Utility Board wanted, but maybe it's time we get a second opinion with a new set of eyes, since we're going to hire somebody for that position anyway. Because if you read these terms, and I did read a lot of the provisions in it, and pretty onerous. I mean, and they're pretty ambiguous as well. I wish I could find the part I was looking at earlier, but pretty much said all bets are off. We don't know what the vehicle is going to be worth. We don't know what you're going to have to pay as a default. We don't know how much you can. I mean, it seemed very nebulous, if you ask me. And that's assuming that we had the other terms which are the blanks that